Ciao, guys. Welcome back to the Artful Podcast. It's Matteo, your host. And before we go on with the new episode, please subscribe to the channel, like the video, support the channel like that. It's really important. And no further ado, let's go on with the show. Wonderful. How's it going today, anyway?
Pretty good. Yeah, it's what time is it here? It's 6:30 in the morning, so I got up
Ooh.
a little earlier to do some stuff. But
Yeah,
yeah.
nice. Nice.
How about yourself?
Are you in the studio at the moment or it's
No, I'm at home right now.
okay, perfect. Welcome back, guys, to the Artful Podcast. With me today we have great artist from is that Canada? Yeah, perfect.
Yeah, Vancouver.
Is Joon Lee with me today? Before we go on with the interview talking about your practice and your art, I would like you to present yourself to the audience and what's your story, your background, and we can get from there.
Hey, I'm June from South Korea. I emigrated to Vancouver when I was 7, and I've been here ever since.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and yeah, I just like making stuff, man.
I know.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, that's what literally is. It's just making stuff as simple as that. Have
Mhm.
you when you moved to Vancouver, at what age we're talking about?
So 7, yeah, I was pretty young.
Okay, I see.
Yeah.
So you grew up in Vancouver. Did you move anywhere else, or you stayed there for all your life?
No, I mean I traveled, but yeah, I've stayed here all my life. I kept saying how I'm gonna leave, but I'm still here.
Yeah. I heard actually that yeah, Vancouver is a great city for art, especially. It was one of the city that I was choosing to move before I moved to Berlin because now I'm based in Berlin.
Hmm.
But Canada was always it's always been in my mind to come and see. I don't know literally why.
Hmm.
And coming from south of Italy, it's not the place that it's know what you expect. I'm from like the beach and the sun and everything, so Canada can be a quite tough change for me. But I don't
Hmm.
know why it's always been in my mind. Um,
Yeah, I mean it's a good choice that you'd picked Berlin. 'Cause,
yeah.
yeah,
It can get pretty cold here as well.
yeah,
But it's actually a great city. I'm loving it. It's been only 1 year at the moment, but
nice.
loving Berlin. Um, did you do any study in Vancouver? Art related, obviously. While you were there?
No, I didn't do any schooling here. I just obsessively started reading, watching, and going to shows and really studying how people paint,
Mm,
like what the applications are. And I just yeah, experimented from there.
that's great. That's great.
Mhm.
It's mostly like I did some university, some school, college, and university, but most of the stuff there I know I keep learning every day. It's self-taught, and I think
Mhm.
obviously I think that's one of the best way of learning art. It's doing and experimenting with what you see and what you think. um how is usually your routine? Because I'm asking especially this question to you because I saw that you have a quite variety of artworks. Can go to from portrait to abstract to illustration. Like it's a really a vast choice that you have. How
Mhm.
do you approach usually, and why do you choose one style and another one to usually?
Yeah, I guess it's whatever I'm in the mood for, really.
Mm-hmm.
So I did start off with hand cut collaging and then went to still life work with photography and landed with paintings. And with paintings, yeah, there are quite variety of styles for sure. Um, I don't really think too much on what my style is going to be. I just throw paint on the canvas and see what comes of
Mm-hmm.
it. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, whatever I'm proud to show at the end is whatever I guess you see on your end. But there's quite a few different styles that, you know, most people haven't seen, and it's just in the vault and tucked
Yeah,
away hidden.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. um yeah, it's really interesting because I do the same, and most of the time, I don't know, it could be a uh double side. Like
Yeah.
you can explore a lot of things, and you can
Mhm.
get good a lot of different styles, a lot of things. But sometimes you for what I do, it's because I have the same thing that I like to explore, and I like to change it up as well. But you know, sometimes I feel personally that, oh, if I focus myself in one thing, I can, you know, I can push it further and further. Um, but yeah, I am the same. I need to change styles after a while. I'd go from drawings to paintings to illustrations, and yeah, it's a nice way of keeping fresh and not get bored as well of doing paintings and doing art. Which
Mhm.
is, yeah, I'll suggest as well that to people when, yeah, when we talk, it's always super good. Um, what does what is your so you said you don't go there with the actual plan on what style do you want, but do you have a starting point that where it inspires you to do a certain piece or a portrait? Or so what's the inspiration behind your painting?
Yeah. So I guess with certain styles, I do come in with a very precise concept. So those portrait paintings and the abstract, flat dimension minimalism have been from my works on Illustrator,
Mm-hmm.
translated to paintings. And comparative to what I'm doing now, which is I just go and throw some color and see what works and what doesn't, and just trying to really make the canvas thicker. Um, and yeah, because I want to make at least an inch or 2 inches thick, sort
Mm,
of de Kooning style,
yeah,
and see
yeah.
where it lands. And I realize that a lot of people don't really have that time anymore to invest on a piece for years and years and just letting the paint dry and getting it thick. So that's my experiment right now.
That's super interesting. Yeah, because especially when you see somebody like de Kooning, it's um you see these like brush strokes. Really,
Mm,
it feels like it's been done in like in minutes. But if you actually go see and like how you used to paint, it took
mhm,
months before you finish one painting. It
mhm,
was is incredible where the feeling that you have is completely the opposite of what is actually like. It was his
mhm.
style when he was painting. It took, yeah, it takes ages to do that kind of things, and it's true. People now they just, yeah, they rush into doing stuff, and they might
Mhm.
don't take their time to explore
Yeah,
that one canvas.
yeah.
So it's so you have that white canvas in front of you. How do you actually like practically approach? Do you like the white, or you do you turn it into one a different color, and then from there you work it out? It's how you approach that terrified white canvas.
Well, the process, I guess, I think logically first, you know, you have to size it first and all that. And then after, I guess I choose with acrylic because it dries faster. And
Mm.
then when it gets thick enough and I'm satisfied with the colors that produced from it, I use oils on top of, so oil sticks. And right now I'm working on an 8 by 12 foot. So the oil sticks, I go through, I think, 8 to 10 sticks in one sitting, which
Oh,
can run up to, I don't know, $300 Canadian in one sitting. So it can get quite expensive.
yeah, yeah.
Um, so yeah, but that's the process that I think of. And with colors, I've been disciplined pretty much from the collage to really think about how colors are juxtaposed or complements, and how they fight or play with each other. And I'm trying to just push that and seeing if I can create something really ugly, but at the same time come out sort of hauntingly beautiful, like how
Mm.
Bacon does his pieces. But no matter what I do, I can't make anything as grotesque as his. It just
Yeah.
comes out so like peaceful. So I'm trying to break out of that right now.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
Is that your main goal? It's why does it not like why don't you like the peaceful um like
It's
style that comes out when you paint?
it's just too there's no extra layer in there for me. The substance
Mm.
is lost when it's just beautiful, because when I look at a beautiful painting, I appreciate it, but at the same time, I want something more to chew.
Mm.
So if I see something that's really um, makes me feel anxiety, makes me feel death, makes me feel all these things that we don't really talk about, but in a beautiful way, that's another layer for me to digest, and that's what I gravitate towards, really.
Mm. Is
Yeah.
there those are you interested to represent those like taboos that usually like in society it's difficult to talk about, or it's we know it's there, but let's keep it there and not explore it when that's what you're interesting to through your paintings, try to um go gain to this argument and of how you said death and anxieties and all these um stigma that society has with your
Mhm.
paintings. That's super interesting. Um,
Yeah.
why is that? Why do you choose painting instead of drawings or any different like way of creating artworks?
Mhm. Drawings, it's too I feel too claustrophobic when I'm sitting and I have a little pencil and I'm just using my wrist. But with paintings, I mean, yeah, with drawings, you can do large scales
Mm,
also. Um, but the immediate impact that when I hold an oil stick to the canvas and the colors produce right away, and it's thick and it's visceral. I like the texture that it can produce with the teeth of the canvas. And I know that there's papers out there that have the same similar
yeah, but I know what you mean. Yeah.
ways. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I don't know. I just gravitate towards that. And I'm not a classical painter by any sense. I'm not classically trained
Mm,
in a traditional sense of the portraiture or the correct way of the human anatomy and all that. So drawings have never really interested me, because I can see like I can see your body, um, and if I'm painting exactly the way you look like, to me there's no purpose for me to finish that and have that enjoyment
yeah.
um, during the process and at the end. But if I make you a color of what I feel like you're representing, or the emotions that you're giving me, then that's something that I like to explore.
That's great. Is you mentioned a few times texture,
Mm,
which most of the time I think it's I don't want to say underrated, but from audience like an audience perspective, it's not
mm,
really something that they look through, like they don't understand that most of the time paintings that are like really they are great, it's because this texture that has the painting himself. And why for you texture is so important? Why the thickness? Why the this really harsh oil stick paint movements are important for you, the texture on the painting? Do you
yeah.
think does it give that extra flavor to the artwork?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think it stems from other mediums I've done. Like with photography, I
Mm,
always thought it was so flat, so I would add I would tint like, some textures onto it so it looks grittier or dark. And even with collages, the photographs that I use to cut it with is shot on Kodachrome. So
mm,
the film emulsion has so much grit and so much texture on it already, and it just hits that some sense in the back of my brain of nostalgia for me. So I think that translates to paintings as well. I made like really, really flat pieces to try to see if I can go away from it.
mm,
Um, but I was just not happy in the end.
I see.
Yeah.
I see. Um, do you say was your first approach to art collage?
Mm-hmm.
Why is that? Collage is a particular reason. Why do you decide to start with collage, or because usually it's drawings like that's the or something like that comes into my mind as first approach
Yeah.
to its drawings. Why is that
hmm
for you? What was collage?
I mean, it was a pretty like dark time back then for me, but I think I found someone doing a collage online, and I was like, oh, that looks like Kodachrome, and it looks like this are magazines that I read back when I was a kid, so I'm gonna use the same and see where it comes out of. And so yeah, I just found there's this thing here called Craigslist where it's like a secondhand, you can buy anything pretty much from
Mm.
cars to
Yeah.
laptops and furniture. And so I found a posting of 500 magazines for
Okay.
like 10 bucks. And so yeah, I just thought it was the right time for me. And I was lucky enough that that was the perfect time for me to step into because it wasn't trending at all.
Mm.
Everyone knew of collages, but it didn't hit the mainstream market. And yeah, it's fortunate.
Yeah, yeah, that's it's interesting story. Um, Talking about market, how do you think approaching this galleries and the artwork in general is for you? And if you like, what was your experience to that? Because I saw that you are represented in galleries as well, so um which is great as an artist. That's what you basically are you going for usually. So what was your first approach to that kind of to the world?
Mm, it was a lot of experimenting, really,
Mm,
knowing what the galleries expect out of you, what they need to see, and what they want to see. It's all different. Um, and the language that I used sometimes would not be the right language for them to accept,
mm,
no matter how they might like the painting or not. And so a lot of exhibition proposals, a lot of trial and error, and figuring out um, concise language is the best for them because they don't have time to read a whole paragraph of why you like the color blue and
yeah.
why it associates with your mother. They don't care about that. They just want to know what you've been up to, why you're doing it. Um, and but Instagram has helped in that way to get that reach. Um, but it's not it's always greener on the other side, right? So
Yeah.
even though you're represented, there's a lot of cons that are associated with that, as well as the pros. Is people think you're now an artist and you're full time, but it's not really associated with that. It's quite romanticized
Mm,
because even though you're represented, you might not make any money because the galleries that's representing you aren't finding the right market, or they don't have the right clientele for your style, or it's just a huge recession
yeah.
economic wise. There's so many reasons and variables that come into it. Um, but yeah,
Yeah, it's
I'm
the
pretty
first
silent on that. Yeah.
yeah, the first approach that you have with galleries as is tough. It's a tough one because nobody really teach you how to approach galleries, and nobody really teach you. Even I did university, and that was 1% of what we did, when it's
Mm,
actually like 50% of the what you need to know how to do after you finish school and you want to do this as a job. You don't know. You don't know, should I send an email? Should I go there personally? Should I talk to the director? The director will talk to me. Like, who am I?
mm,
It's so much. There's so much going on when you want to do that. Um,
mm,
and I think that's a miss. There's something missing there.
mm.
For people to understand quickly how to do this, because I personally decide to get involved into galleries to understand what gallery wants. So I start
Mm.
doing curating. I start doing working for galleries for projects, and that's how I kind of learn how to. I still don't know, but I have an idea of what the gallery might want. But it depends as well, because if I do my drawings, they are more like conceptual contemporary art, and when I do my paintings are a bit more commercial art. It's so what you still need to learn how to do both, like how to talk to both, which is, yeah,
Yeah,
it's a complicated
and
thing.
so yeah, I mean, schools can teach you enough, but it's one of those things. I think it's similar to someone trying to teach how to do stand-up comedy.
Mm,
You can learn how to make jokes, you can learn how to go up and not be afraid and be confident, but in the end, you need to just do it and learn how how you're gonna go through your life and experience to talk to galleries. I mean, the way I learned is to just show up to their openings and thank them for putting on the show, tell them what you like, what I didn't like, um, and that really helped build a relationship first. And
mm,
whenever they asked if I'm a painter, I would always say no, because A, I wasn't ready back then, and B, I didn't want to sort of tarnish that sort of genuine connection at the
mm,
beginning. Because yes, I want my pieces in that gallery, but that's not the main important part. I want to know the director first. I want to
mm,
know what makes them happy, sad, or um, and get to know who they are before telling them what I do.
mm.
And so that's how I found my way. But I'm not sure if that's like something you can be taught too, right?
Yeah,
So,
yeah, because you need to have the confidence as well to do it, and
yeah.
you don't you need to be good at that as well, like making
Hmm.
those kind of personal connection. It's
Hmm.
I completely agree with the stand-up comedy analogy. I, I think I follow comedians podcast, and I watch all the stand-up shows that I can watch, and
Hmm.
I relate so much to that kind of world, because it's the same thing. You need to put yourself out there. If you People can teach you how to do it, but as you said, if you're not doing it, it's
Hmm.
that it ends there. Like, okay, I know how to do it, but if I don't do it, if I don't go there, if I don't go on that stage, I will never learn what works and what doesn't work, what jokes works and what jokes doesn't work.
Hmm.
If I don't go into a gallery, I never know that gallery and what they like, what they don't like. If I don't put a show up, I will never know if I'm able to put a show up. So I completely agree. It takes a lot of balls to do that kind of things. But obviously, if you really care about, and if you really believe in what you do, I know it sounds really cliche, but if you really believe in what you do, you need to find a way to break the wall, and because that's the only way to get through the into the galleries. It's the only way. You need to make
Yeah.
those connections.
Yeah. And studying the pieces will give you that confidence too, at least for me.
Mm,
I went to the galleries after reading a lot, and because in Canada we don't have the Louvre, we don't have the Tate, we don't even have MoMA here.
mm,
There's there's nothing really here for
yeah.
me to study the great masters back in the day. And so what was really lacking for me, I had to go out and search through commercial galleries, which doesn't really have enough substance. but they're commercial. They're sell pieces, not they're educate what art is.
Yeah.
But learning what sells helps with the process and logically stepping out what mediums and what brushes, what brush strokes, the sides of the canvas, how people cover it up or they tape it up because it's galleries know that they don't the painters don't like to go edge to edge
Mm.
and and yeah, and talking to the gallerists really helps too because they love art just as much as you do.
Mm.
So if they see you just like being weird, and I would look at paintings like upside down in commercial galleries, which isn't really known for here.
Yeah, yeah.
um, so that's how I've been approached by directors because they're like, who's this weird guy that's just like against the wall looking at this piece so flat. But yeah, just if you're if you're really obsessive enough, I
Yeah,
think anyone can and make it
yeah,
in anything really. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's true. It's true. It's a hard path, but um,
Hmm.
to be honest, it's the only thing that I see myself doing. So it's yeah, for me, it will be really hard doing something else.
Hmm.
And so that's why I'm like I need to make it. So
Hmm.
and let's go back to your practice. It's the first thing that I saw when I approached you on Instagram, first of all, it's I saw your portrait. I don't know why they just pop out, and I'll say I was like, oh, this looks great. So I went into your page, and I saw the use of color that you do. Um, it's um it's a really nice complement, like it's the choice of colors that you use, it's really interesting, and I really appreciate they look great. um what's the what's the I don't know, the process that you have, the how you decide to use those colors?
It's usually mixing a lot of buckets of colors. I used to have a lot of waste because
Mm,
because I'm doing big pieces, I don't want to keep on remixing colors throughout the process. So I just make like a huge vat of the
yeah.
paint color. Um, and it take me some colors, it would take me like a year to finish the bucket, but some others, like I just have to throw it away because it's molded or it's waste. But yeah, the colors I choose come from the muted warm tone colors. I just
Hmm.
really like that palette. Um, I don't know
Yeah,
why, but it
it's a great
speaks to me.
it's a great palette. It's yeah, warm, it's the word I will use. It's even like the classical cold color that you use, they're not um they have a tint of warm. It's beautiful way of creating shapes and representing what you have in mind. It's why do you go why do you decide to go big in paintings usually? Because that's what I saw on your page. It's usually like massive paintings, massive pieces.
Mhm.
Is that
Mhm.
do you think more you feel more comfortable in doing bigger pieces than smaller, or?
Yeah, I feel less claustrophobic, and I could just like make a
Hmm.
huge brushstroke, a gesture, and just commit to it. I think is what I liked. And so
So
just
movement is
make them
something that,
bigger. Yeah,
yeah, something that you really care about. Like you need to be able to express completely with your body.
yeah. It's fun for me.
Beautiful. Yeah. Yeah,
Hmm.
that's the word. It's fun. Yeah. I know.
Hmm. Hmm.
Sometimes we focus on so many things in galleries, in how to sell and stuff like that, but we forget to have fun while we're doing it. That's yeah,
Hmm.
that's beautiful. Um Again, Jun Lee, it's
Hmm.
been a pleasure. Thank you very much to be part of the podcast. If you wanna plug your Instagram, or if you have a show or your website, go ahead. It's the opportunity to do so.
Sure. My Instagram is KDOTCLEE. It's K.Clee. And currently, right now, I'm pretty private about my paintings, so I'm not really showing much of that. But my print shop is live now. It's k.sealy.com, and so yeah, check it out. Thanks for having me.
I'll put all the links in the description so people can go and see it. Again, Joon Lee, thank you very much. It was an amazing conversation. Thank you.
All right, thanks, Matt.